I'm Nikita Turk.
I'm Sally French.
And today we're answering your credit card questions from Reddit. Sally is our credit card writer extraordinaire here at NerdWallet, so there's no better person to answer your credit card questions.
We'll see.
All right, well, let's just hop right into it. Points versus rewards. I feel like this is the ultimate question. This person says, are points worth it over cash back for a cheap wad?
For a cheap wad. I like that caveat. And the answer is that often points can be more worth it for a cheap wad. That's because typically you can find even better redemptions when you pay with points. The challenge is you don't always get those better redemptions, and it can require a lot of time and effort to find those excellent point redemptions. So if you're a cheap wad, you can often get better value on using points, but you also need to have the time and energy to actually find those great point redemptions.
So you can be cheap, but you can't be lazy.
I love it.
You gotta be willing to put in the work. So here's another good one. What, other than flights, makes credit card points worth it over just cash back?
Well, I will say that cash back can often be even more worth it than flights. Cash back is a much more fungible form of currency. You can't use your frequent flyer miles to pay your rent, and eventually your rent is gonna be due. So sometimes cash back can be worth it for that. However, if you're really looking for a great travel redemption, then typically you'll get far more value by using frequent flyer miles to pay for it.
Can you use your points on things other than just flights?
Yes, so often travel providers will allow you to use your points on just the flight or even something like electronics like a GoPro. I would recommend not doing that, as your points are worth a lot less when you go that route.
So you can, but should you? That's the question.
Yes.
If you're looking to save on travel and want to reap the benefits of welcome bonuses or other perks, and you don't mind navigating blackout or expiration dates, a travel rewards card might be your best bet. If you prefer simplicity and don't need the travel perks, a cashback card might be the way to go. Just remember, if you carry a high balance and accrue a lot of interest on any type of credit card, the rewards typically aren't going to be worth it.
So we've all been at the checkout and they ask you, do you want to sign up for our store credit card? So there's a lot of questions and confusion about, should I do that? So this person says straight up, are store credit cards worth getting?
That's a good question, and some store credit cards are certainly more worth it than others. The big caveat is that store credit cards tend to have a lot of fine print and a lot of extra fees involved if you don't pay them off in time. Typically, their interest rates are a lot higher than interest rates on other sorts of credit cards, so if you can't pay your balance in full, I generally don't recommend having a store credit card. That said, often the rewards rates are really high. So you look at something like the Target Red Card offers you 5% back at Target. So if that's a store that you're constantly shopping at, you're spending a lot of money at, the rewards can be really worth holding. What I would caution people against is just applying for that store credit card that has a great rewards rate, but you don't really shop at that store that often. You don't want to be holding a ton of credit cards that you barely use.
Are there any store issued cards that you consider as must-haves?
Yes, I would say the must-haves are the stores that you actually shop with. So even if a store card seems really, really tempting and they're offering you 25% off your purchase, if you're only gonna shop at that store once, I would say in general you should skip it. But if it's a store that you're constantly shopping with, so something like Amazon, if that's a place you make a lot of purchases, or Target, then those store cards can be worthwhile. And the reality is, a store card like Gap might be worth it for someone who's always buying tons of clothes, but for someone who goes there once a year, probably skip.
That makes sense. And to go through the applying for credit and things like that, you really want to make sure that you're going to get the bang for your buck.
Absolutely. And it's just important that people remember that every card they have is another card to manage and another card to worry about paying off in full each month. So only apply for those new credit cards if you have good credit and you can manage having another one that you can pay off in full all or most of the time.
Even if it's your favorite clothing store, a regular rewards credit card is usually a better overall value than a store credit card, with more options for earning and redeeming rewards. Store cards tend to have lower limits, higher interest rates, and limited usefulness in comparison to a regular rewards card. The average APR on a store card is over 21% as compared to a cash back card that is closer to 15%.
So, the very basic question, choosing a card. How do I pick one? So this person says, it's my first credit card. I'm 24 and working full time with no credit card. Not much financial knowledge. How do they pick a card?
Yes, that's a good question. And the reality is it can be tough to get approved for a new credit if you don't already have good credit. So how do you get good credit if you don't have credit to begin with? It's sort of difficult, but there are a lot of credit cards that are designed at first timers. So there are many student credit cards marketed at people who are college students. So if you're in that age range, that might be good for you. You might also consider something like a secured credit card. Now, these cards allow you to put money down as collateral, basically sort of ensuring that you'll be able to pay off the credit that you're using because you've already put money down in advance. Once you've proven a history of on-time payment, then typically those secured credit cards will give you that collateral back, which is an excellent way to build credit. Now, these credit cards typically don't offer any sorts of amazing rewards, but once you've built up that credit, then you can think about applying for that better rewards credit card.
Awesome. And that leads me to our next question. Does it matter how many credit cards you have?
Yes. So there are some people who just have one credit card, and then there are some people who have like 30 credit cards. And the reality is it's a personal decision. There's no sort of right or wrong. In general, it's good to have a healthy mix of credit. So I would actually encourage people to have more than one credit card. The question is it something you can manage? If you're gonna have 10 outstanding cards and you're gonna forget to pay them and can't manage all the passwords and the billing statements, then it's better to have one that you're paying off in full every month. But if you really want to maximize those rewards, and there are people out there who have all the hotel credit cards to have all the free night certificates and get all the points and they never pay for travel, then that can be really, really great. And the other good thing about having many credit cards is that you have a larger amount of available credit, which can actually help your credit scores.
Excellent. The bureaus like that, right? It helps them give you a score.
Absolutely.
In general, credit bureaus suggest that 5 or more credit accounts is reasonable, a mix that includes both credit cards and loans, like student loans or mortgages. Having fewer accounts than this can make it difficult for credit scoring models to score you. Developing responsible spending habits and making sure you can afford to pay bills on time can help you settle on a number that makes sense for you.
And those are your Reddit questions. So Sally, at the end of the day, what should people keep in mind when they're thinking about either getting a new credit card or just managing their existing credit cards?
Yeah, so holding credit cards or applying for new credit cards can be an excellent way to build credit. It's just really important that people remember to pay off their bill in full every month or at least most of the time. Of course, emergencies come up and you might not be able to pay your bill in full every month, in which case making the minimum payment is really important. But by and large, paying in full is important, and it's actually a myth why people don't. The reason why people think they shouldn't pay it off in full often stems from this idea that you need to show that you're actually using the credit card. And that's certainly true that you need to show you're using it, but you do want to pay it down. And that's for two reasons. One, paying it down reduces your outstanding credit utilization rate. So if you have an $1,000 credit limit and you have $900 charged on the card, that looks to the banks like you're really, really close to that credit limit, and they're worried that you might overspend. So you actually want to be closer to zero than say $1,000. And the other reason is simply paying interest. If you owe money past, the due date, then the bank will charge you interest on that, and that's money that you wouldn't have to pay if you had just paid it in full to begin with. So honestly, paying that credit card bill in full is an amazing way to build credit without actually owing any money in interest.
There you go. Sally French, myth-busting credit card lore. Sally, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
So much fun going down this Reddit rabbit hole on credit cards with you.
Thanks, Redditors, for the questions.
Yeah. And if you guys have other questions in the future that you'd like us to answer in another episode, drop them down in the comment section below. We'll see you guys next time. Bye. I'm Nikita Turk. Thank you so much for joining us on Control Finance. If you're looking for a new credit card, whether you're a student, whether it's your first credit card ever, whether you're looking to maximize your rewards, we have a guide for you at nerdwallet.com. Be sure to check it out. Everybody's credit is different. Everybody's needs are different. So we'll walk you through it. We'll see you guys next time.